Hello, it's Dean here, and let me introduce you to this Chess Vision Trainer, a tool that you can use to help kids learn everything from basic piece movement to how to translate squares into notation, and all the way up to like learning to play chess blindfolded, learning some foundational skills for that. So picture putting this on a television screen in front of a chess team, a room full of kids, and you can adjust the font size of this notation. If it's not to your liking, we'll leave it there. And then it'll start giving you challenges to train you. So check out this first one.
How can you move a bishop from d4 to h6?
Okay, kind of tricky. The bishop is here and the pawn is here. And what square could the bishop pass through to get the pawn? So you'll just want to click there, and some kids will want you to click there. And the point is they're going to have to call out that this square is G7 and say click on G7, or some of the kids could be saying click on E3. Either way, you make your choice.
E3, a dark square, is correct. G7 is also correct.
And it validates whoever was right. Now, in the case of queens, and there's many more ways a queen can move. We're not going to tell you all the alternatives, but for rooks and bishops, we'll tell you the alternative. So let's do one more.
How can you move a queen from f7 to a6?
Okay, so here's my point, that the queens on f7 to a6, they could get there by way of this square, by way of this square, by way of this square, by way of this square. It's a lot of alternatives. Any one of them will answer correctly.
E6, a light square, is correct.
It just won't read all the other alternatives because that would be kind of tedious. So you might notice that queens are a bit easier than knights and bishops. So that brings us to the notion of difficulty level. So at this level, you're not even needing to understand notation.
How can you move a queen from f3 to a1?
Pieces move and click on a square.
C3, a dark square, is correct.
And of course, you're drawing this out of the kids with these puzzles. So now let's say that you're at a higher level of kids, and you can just focus on knights and bishops. You can leave off the queens and rooks.
How can you move a knight from d4 to d6?
And you'll find
f5, a light square, is correct. b5 is also correct.
Yeah, you'll find that on average it takes more brain power to work things in knight and bishop mode. Another test of brain power is to hide the target piece, that pawn, so that you actually have to listen and read and understand what the notation is, where the notation is telling you to go for you to find that intermediate square. So let me show.
How can you move a bishop from g5 to g7?
Okay, so there's no pawn on g7, but g7 is here. So the way you answer it is still the same.
f6, a dark square, is correct. h6 is also correct.
But you just have to have the vision of where you're going to get. And this is building up towards being able to do the entire move blindfolded. But before that, a couple of other difficulty adjustments. One, you can see this from the other side of the board, show as black, in which case this square, which would have been called B2 for white, is called G7. And so if you think you're starting to get your notations down, or the kids are getting too good at calling it out from white, throw this next difficulty adjustment and show it as black. And while you're at it, another difficulty adjustment is to hide the notation along the side of the board. So just looking at the board, I don't know if this is B2 or G7 anymore, but you'll say we're working as black, in which case you'll have to know that that's G7, or we'll say we're working as white. And frankly, the piece should change color now that I think about it, instead of always being a white piece, but it doesn't do that. Oh well. So difficulty adjustment, hide notation. So let's put it back to white so that we can talk about blindfold mode. In blindfold mode, the piece is not present. So imagine this is how I would do a round of blindfold mode. Everyone would close their eyes, and then you'd listen after you click on the board.
How can you move a knight from f8 to e5?
All right, So I actually have to picture in my head, my eyes are still closed, F8, which is a dark square up there, and getting from there to E5. E5 is down here, and it's also a dark square. So the knight will have to move through a light square, either this one, D7, or the other one. So let's see.
D7, a light square, is correct. G6 is also correct.
So the point is you do that whole process with your eyes closed, except for when you open your eyes and then click on that square and find out if you were right or not. So that is the Chess Vision Trainer and how the difficulties adjust. You'll also enjoy that there is a log in which you can filter your accomplishments by whether they were blindfold or not, what piece they were, what difficulty it was, and then how long you were taking. So a lot of information in there for your improvement, and I hope you have a fun time with the Chess Vision Trainer.